Today, we're across the river. We're in Ohio, and I want to talk to Mr. Arthur Schulteis about AC shiners. And I had no idea that all those lures I'd been using since I was a kid were made right here across the river. Let's go back a few years. Let's talk about how all this started. First of all, you must have been a fisherman.
In the early days, I was a minnow fisherman or a night crawler. You couldn't buy Rapala, so I just decided, well, I'd try to make some. And that's how I got started. And then when we developed this lure, it became one lure I fished with all the time.
I wish I could see the first lure. You don't have the first lure, do you?
Yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah, about the first one, yeah.
Can we see that today?
It's awful crude looking.
I'd sure like to see it.
It's got a finish on that turned color with age, but it's a...
So this is one of the first ones you made?
Yeah, that's one of the first lures we made.
So you're talking, this goes back to the...
50 years.
50 years.
That was sanded down right from the get-go by hand, and we put that foil on there from off an aluminum cigarette pack and put a couple coats of polyester resin on it and painted it. And that's where it come out with the name of ACS on it. We sold a bunch of them like that.
Yes,
Yeah, and I just happened to keep that one back, laid back. We just try to develop it a little more acceptable to the looks of the people mainly. Because you can make a real good fishing lure, but if the person doesn't appreciate the looks, they won't be coming back again.
What is your most popular selling item?
Number 300. It has been 48 out of the 50 years we've been making lures. It's hard to cast. You can't get much distance with it. It drifts because of the flatness. There's not much body to it, but it catches fish like nobody's business. And the silver black color, silver sides and black back and a white belly is the top color. And like I say, 48 years out of the 50, that's been the top seller.
No kidding. All right, sir, this is where it starts right here, a piece of balsa wood.
Yes, sir.
It looks like there's 28 steps. And just like that. That's how it comes out of the machine?
Yes.
After it turns it? And
that next one's where sanded out. And then the next one's put the wire in. Next one's got a slot cut in it. The wire harness goes around it. And this is where we glue the wire in. I'll foul the roughness off where we glue the wire on. Put the foil on one side and then turn it over and put foil on the other side. And then roll the imprint into it. And then put a plastic coat on, 1, 2, and 3.
so you dip them in this.
You dip them in this plastic here, 3 coats, 48 hours between coats.
I thought, Arthur, if you stay in here smelling that too long, do you ever see things or hear voices?
There was a time when I'd stay in here with it, dipping 20, maybe 25 lures at a dozen at a time, and I'd stagger out of here. And I got so I don't do that no more. It's affected my science. This is too much. Paint the back, and then do the back. Let that dry a little bit, and then spray the belly on it. I start the eyes in and the dot, and then we put tape on both sides and paint the belly. Put the mouth on. This in here we put the name on, size, AC Shiner 300. This one here is a plastic coating over top of all the paint. Clean the eyes out after we coat it. This one we cut the slot out so we can glue the bill on, which we do the next step. Put the hooks on, test the lure in a test tank, draw it through anywhere from 2 to 6 times. Make sure we got it adjusted true.
Now here's where each and every lure is tested in this tank right here.
Yeah, it's time consuming.
So each and every one. I'll tell you, that's quality control right there.
We just put it in there. It runs a little bit off to that side, so just bend the wire a hair the opposite way. It isn't quite there yet, so then we'll have to put a little trim on the bill. Here we take time to make sure that the lure runs true and you don't have any imperfections in its action. And I don't mind standing here, what the heck. It's better than sitting up at the house watching television. Now these are running pretty good. And then we package it in a box, ship it out.
Now, I guess you have done every stage of this at some point.
Every step, everything.
Which is your least favorite?
I believe this job, that's how they go out of here to the dealer or jobber or individual.
And in my mind, I thought there's some huge conglomeration somewhere. They're making them in the Philippines, or they're making them somewhere. But every AC Shiner has come out of this building.
Everyone from the word go.
Do you have any idea how many baits have gone out of here? Rough estimate.
Well over 1 million, I don't know exactly. That was putting in a lot of ours.
At what point did you realize this thing was taking off, and what'd you do for help?
I had built-in help with 9 children and real cheap labor, cheaper than they got overseas right now. Then Bob Rankin, who wrote for the Cincinnati Enquirer, was a sports writer down there, and he encouraged me to go ahead and try to go with it. So with his help, with a little publicity in the paper once in a while, that's how it got rolling then.
You've been in this business since 1963.
Yes.
And you're only 63 years old. How's that? That doesn't add up.
No, 86 years old.
I'm just kidding you. You know what?
I wish you were.
There must be something about balsa wood dust that is keeping you, that's keeping you mighty healthy looking.
I have a firm belief that as long as you stay active when you get older, don't sit down and vegetate, that's when everything starts to shut down. If you keep it moving, even though it's painful at times, I think it will help propel you into a longer life.
To think that something's still American made, it's quality, and everything is tested right here, and you don't let it out the door unless it runs right. I like seeing that. It's part of America that's kind of slipped by us almost, I'm afraid. But I thank you so much for stepping us through the process. I really appreciate meeting you and you taking the time out to show us around.
I thank you for coming up and seeing us.
Well, and I'll continue to use your product like I have over the years, and hopefully catch millions and more. I catch state records all the time, have you noticed? Not, but you know what, after I've got good luck now. Next time I use one of your baits, it's a state record, I'm for sure.
I appreciate that very much.
Thank you much.
Thank you, sir.